Hi gang, so I'm going to jump over to our screen and we'll see that our first assignment's kind of details are here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to open up a new Word document and bring it right in. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through a little bit. Remember from our last, we were using the developer tab. So that's going to be a kind of a key item for us to start doing some of these exercises that's in here. You can build, if you like, a frame around this. And a lot of people like to build the frame, and you can do that very easily just simply by doing this, and I'll Apple Z that, or Control on PCs to get rid of it. But one of the things you'll notice is I like to put up and use rulers a lot because I said I like the card to be 5x7. It's kind of traditional style, and I like to work in that frame. So I know I'm working for a layout wise, and that'll be a big thing for us. The layout, we'll be thinking of gutters, which is a space that you will want to pay attention to. So if I was just drawing here and say this is our document, I might want to put an insert in here in a gutter frame to make them equal. And we'll do that so that just roughly, you'll see that this white area now becomes an outline. A lot of people will call that a gutter space. And this is where the bleed is on print, if the old-fashioned print, that there was always usually a 1/4 inch around any surface. So if we're mapping this out before we even start, we want to make sure we think about bleed and overage and extra area, so you can always, in the digital world, we can usually shrink this if it's a PDF or a document of what we'll be dealing with later. So think about that gutter for the bleed. And then inside you'd have yet another one of a gutter system with equal margins, is usually to keep it just a nice clean white space. So it's actually like this area is almost never used, but we're conscious of it. This is our template size, and then the inside with the gutter is what we do. Now Word draws it really nice and does the framing inside there, so we don't have to measure so much. But it's just a conscious thing to think about a gutter space and the bleed gutter that comes kind of out. And the printers would usually crop on this line and they'll have crop marks. And you can do that on PDFs. And maybe I'll show you later how to add all those onto a PDF of this document as well too. So it's kind of something to really think printer-wise now in the developer world today. You'd want to have a spec. If you're designing the website, you'll know the size. It might not be 5x7, but it might be the size of whatever your frame is that you've built into your actual site, which we'll be doing together as well. So we'll be conscious of those sizes. Generic size for today is just that 5x7. And in honesty, gang, the easiest way with Word is to actually talk about it and put and set up your margins inside of here. I'm not so much worried about the conscious space of this, but more or less that you understand kind of that framework for this. If you want to go ahead and set them up, you can. I'm not going to penalize you really badly for doing that. You would go into the custom margins and you could set it up any way you want inside of here, and that'll actually set your document up. Would be the easiest is when you're actually doing a Word doc. You could actually kind of do that and start up your idea from the templates, or here usually the Word docs allow you to set your sizes up in parameters as well when you first do it. So a lot of people like to do that, but for our world and our cause, I'm more looking for your let's see if it'll let me do the actual spacing on here, but no, it's not. I'm going to leak back out of that, gang. Sorry. Let me show you on a Photoshop doc. It'll be a little bit easier to understand visually. The word I'm looking for you guys to do is more or less the rules of these real quick. And I pulled up Photoshop real quick. We're going to work a lot in there. I like to do kind of new in Photoshop. I really like to do my design a lot of times just inside of here. And you have to forgive my system's a little bit slow. You'll see it brings up on side here, and you can set your width and your height and resolution, which I always go by pixel inches. And that'll be important too, because a lot of times we're going to change for that screen resolution and size to what we're doing on our websites and everything. A lot of them are all 72 inches, but this is kind of a standard, and you can easily change orientation if you want your card going vertical. So maybe we'll do a vertical for the fun of it. You know, I didn't do that. Simply hit create. It'll bring up this kind of nice canvas already inside your 5x7 perspectives. And also, one of the big things you'll want to do is go up and make sure in view you'll come down to snap to and make sure your guides are on, layers, documents. Guides are really important for this when we're working and designing, because you'll see that items will snap right to the guides that we set up. And then above, rulers, so you want to turn your rulers on. You can see now mine has popped up inside of here. And we can simply just draw a box if we want to. A lot of designers will just do that. Or if you come over and you can just drag, real nice, these are those snaps. So I'm going to set it up right in a quarter line. And I'll come over and just come back off a quarter here. Same thing from the top. Here's 0, we'll go quarter. And again, we'll drag down from the top and back up always. And a quarter. And that sets up our good gutter space for our bleed there. Originally, we would do this on the template for a bleed itself. Remember I said over top? So most of the time when I'm doing for printing, but since we're doing digital, you really don't need to do that. But the printer-wise, if you were doing a setup, you'd want to do it and just leave yourself a quarter-inch margin all the way around. And we'll do, just for the sake of showing that setup for 1 second, I will pull up another new doc. So I'm going to go here. You just want to make it just a touch bigger. So let's do an exaggerated one, 0.5. We'll do the traditional quarter-inch over. Sorry, okay. And set up our actual, boy, you know, big thumbs today, gang. So there, now we have a quarter-inch on our bleed and a canvas, just so you see that. So if you're working on that traditional style, you know that. And if I'm doing in this case, I would probably set it up. You'll see me setting the hash mark up and the hash mark up left and right. And then I can really easily draw and just look to drop. You'll see we're a quarter over on our bleed. So I'm going to come another quarter in if I want. Or I can set it up just to show myself I like to do that. What my 5x7 is. So I recognize that's there now. So it's just an easy way to keep that and recognize that that's on there, and you can put a ruling line on that when you're doing it. You might want to just draw an actual box in with it so you're conscious of that bleed if you're doing for a printer space, and just leave it there. It's something kind of nice to do, and you'll see it and it'll just stay up, and you can set it for whatever, you know, margins you want on your box, but it'll just keep it, oops, sorry, but you want to keep it in there. You just don't want to really mess with it. You know that's your space that you're going to have. But let's go back to the idea of how we were before. So I'm going to click back over to other document for digital. So we have this in here. So now we can easily start putting on spaces, and you can go down for however many pieces you have and make ruler lines that'll snap to it. So maybe every ½ inch you want, quarter inch you want to put and lay out a grid, so it makes it really easy for you to kind of snap everything to. I like to do that when I'm designing. You can start seeing how nice this pattern comes real quick to creating this, and you can level all your stuff into this later. But it makes a real easy grid line to do this and set this up, and we can put all of our pieces together on here. So I switch back over to our Word doc and show you just about how to snap some of these pieces in. So back in my Word, I'm going to go, we have our developer tab up, and I like to work with a screen usually that's big enough that I can see what my clients are wanting. And remember, we're always working for somebody, even if it's yourself and your own company, which a lot of you will be designing your own final project pieces for an entrepreneurial venture, which I'd really like you to do. So if we look at it and you set it up this way, it's number one thing that I always like to do, and I have all my directions here. You can simply do and start working, and literally put it in for title information and colon to set it off. I'm going to come over here to my developer tab. I'm going to click it on, which it's already coming. And what I want to start doing is putting some of these options in there. So we're going to look at a combo box, probably for the first one or second one. Let me see. And do, again, sorry. I'm going to click because this is a Mac. Now on PCs, the Word doc actually gives you a really easy icon. It's kind of a shaded double that you just click on. If you area it over, it'll tell you the form. But for Mac users, which we're going to use in the lab and PCs downstairs, you'll have to, I didn't want to, sorry, kind of click in and then double click on the actual box and brings up your drop down menu to what you're going to do. So here we're going to want to do the actual items. So because I'm lazy, I'm going to kind of just cheat in. And I'll grab, I'll double click, I'll bring back in my items. Items and list. We'll just call it titles. It's going to make me do it the hard way, so we will add one. Actually, I'm sorry. Reverse that. We're going to, I'll get that out. Up here we do it Mr. period, add it in. MS is kind of the replacement for Mr. MRS and S, so we'll use that nowadays. It's kind of the nice, but we'll still do the polite MRS as well. And just for this case, just so you guys know this. So that's what you kind of want to do for this. And when you do that and you collect in here, then you'll see your tab will actually bring it up. So when we're doing this, it'll bring your drop-down menu in there. So as soon as you have that done, you can just start going to your next one and next file and just write down the name. So we're going to use one for a file for the name. I'll copy paste, I'll bring in. You can kind of see how this is going to go. This is just a field box then. And in here, just to do this, I would just do the simple text box, and that'll allow. So you may want to put in last name and then have a space, and then first name. And again, you can do, middle if you want to do that as well. And just keep adding in these text boxes, and that'll allow the user to actually type into them and fill them in. So it's a quick and easy way to do that on these. And the same thing with the address as you go down the line. I'm just showing this as kind of a quick, easy way to do these. You can do the drop down as well. There's a list on for the states as well, but I don't want you to do states so much. You can just do for the state. Let's say everybody's in Georgia or Florida. We'll change and we'll make that to that for this assignment. So we'll make it really easy. I'm more or less worried about you recognizing and doing, the combo box twice and saying, okay, I had to come in here. What state, just so we have it in there. Select your state. Oops. And we'll add that, and then we'll just say, or Florida. If you do this, I'll be very happy. And that'll give you these two items, and then allow you to have that drop down there. And when you get into it, it'll pick, and you can use your drop downs later. But I want you to kind of space it evenly and be conscious of that, so everything's kind of nice. So when it's on our form, put the rest of this in. So zip code, phone, email, and do an age range as well. And to do that, you'll go back in, and again, you're going to make. It's really easy on the PC because there is just an age range picker that you can just do for ranges as one, or you can do the combo box, as I said before, space it out, double click, and then you just have to simply do 18 and under, add 18 to 24, and you'll go through these lists and add the different categories. 25 to 34 we have, and just keep adding. Eventually you'll just click that in, that'll be your drop down to select for there. Once you have that, just save the file and we'll submit it into your first Dropbox. So this is just a clarifying to understand a little bit about rules and gutters. We're going to get more into that Photoshop style documents building and making it doing this way as well, but these will be an item to where you're going to be interested in bringing all this in as well into your different places. So I'm looking forward to our good stuff, and just a quick form. As long as I have this, I'll be happy. So look forward to your success, and I'll see you guys in class soon.